Have you ever set a big goal, full of enthusiasm, only to kind of watch it slowly fizzle out?
Oh, absolutely. I think we've all been there.
Right. Dreaming of these huge changes, but then you get stuck maybe at the start, or you just lose steam.
Ah.
What if the problem wasn't really your ambition, but maybe just your approach?
Interesting way to put it.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everyone. This is part of the Deep Seek Diaries. We're here to help you cut through the noise, get right to the heart of the ideas in books and research that are shaping things.
Yeah, finding those powerful insights you can actually use.
Exactly. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, please do make sure you're subscribed. Maybe hit that like button. It really helps us bring more deep dives like this one to you.
Definitely.
And just a note, all the resources we talk about today, books, articles, everything, we've put links for you down in the description below.
Makes it easy to check them out.
Before we go on, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like the video. This podcast is known as the Deep Seek Diaries, and you can find us on the major social media platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Linked in the description section are all the resources in discussion today, including books, websites, and so on. Please go through our terms and conditions as soon as you can. Now sit back and enjoy the podcast.
Okay, so today we are diving deep into a real phenomenon. Atomic Habits. An easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones, by James Clear.
That book is everywhere. Millions sold.
It really is. And our mission today is basically to unpack why. Why do these seemingly tiny, almost insignificant shifts in behavior that Clear talks about? Why can they lead to such huge, life-altering results?
It's a powerful premise.
We want this to be your shortcut, to understand the book's power and figuring out how you might apply it in your own life. So this whole idea of atomic change. Let's unpack that first, shall we?
Let's do it. So when James Clear uses the term atomic habits, what he's really getting at, I think, is that real lasting change. It doesn't usually come from some massive, overnight transformation.
Right. Not the big, hairy, audacious goals necessarily in isolation.
Exactly. Instead, he says it comes from the compound effect of hundreds of small decisions.
Compound effect. That's the key phrase.
Yeah. And the examples he gives are so relatable, aren't they? Like doing just 2 push-ups a day, or maybe waking up 5 minutes earlier.
Or making that one quick phone call you keep avoiding.
Yeah. These tiny, tiny actions, they feel almost invisible, but he argues they're the atomic building blocks. It's quite a compelling idea when you think about it.
It really is. And what's fascinating, and you see this echoed in thousands of reader comments, is how Clear shifts the focus. It's not just about setting those big, ambitious goals. It's about building robust systems.
Systems over goals. I remember that part standing out.
Yeah, he puts it very directly. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. That hits hard, doesn't it?
It really does, because, for so many of us, goal setting is just hammered into us from day one. Aim high. So can you maybe elaborate a bit more on why just setting a goal might actually get in the way sometimes, according to Clear anyway, and how do these systems work differently?
Absolutely. So think about it like this. Goals are, they're the result you want, right? The destination on the map.
Okay. Makes sense.
But systems are the processes. They're the route, the actual driving instructions that get you there. They're the GPS maybe constantly recalculating if you take a wrong turn.
So the how rather than just the what.
Exactly. If your goal is, say, writing a book, the system is that daily habit, right? 500 words, rain or shine. If the goal is getting fit, the system isn't just wanting to be fit. It's the actual workout routine you follow every day or week.
Right.
Relying only on willpower to hit a goal. Well, willpower runs out. We all know that feeling.
The 4 p.m. slump?
Exactly. But a good system, it creates an environment, a set of routines that just naturally guides you where you want to go. Almost automatically sometimes. It removes that constant need for sheer grit. It's about making the good choice the easy choice.
Making the desired behavior the path of least resistance. I like that. Okay, so if systems are the secret sauce, what are some of the practical life hacks Clear gives us to actually build them? I remember reading about things like habit stacking and the 2-minute rule.
Yes, precisely. He doesn't just leave you with a theory. He gives you these incredibly actionable strategies. Habit stacking is brilliant, just brilliant in its simplicity.
How does that one work again?
You basically link a new habit.
Yeah.
You want to start with an existing habit you already do without thinking.
Yeah.
So maybe drink coffee every morning, right? That's established.
Every single morning, yes.
So you might decide, okay, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. You're piggybacking on that existing neural pathway.
Clever. Leveraging momentum you already have.
Exactly. And then there's the 2-minute rule, which sounds almost too simple, but it's deceptively powerful.
Okay, intrigued.
It just encourages you to start any new habit by doing it for only 2 minutes. Want to read more books? Just commit to reading for 2 minutes.
2 minutes, that's it.
That's the start. Want to go running? Don't think about the 5K. Just put on your running shoes and get out the door for 2 minutes. The idea is to make the barrier to entry so incredibly low, it's almost impossible to say no, to procrastinate.
That does sound almost too simple. I mean, has Clear talked about the skepticism? Because for me, that's the mental hurdle, convincing myself that just 2 minutes is actually going to lead anywhere significant.
He definitely addresses that. And the genius, see, isn't that the entire habit is only 2 minutes forever?
Okay, right.
It's about making the start ridiculously easy. Because often getting started is the hardest part, isn't it? Overcoming that inertia.
Totally. Staring at the blank page or the running shoes.
Exactly. Once you've started, even just for those 2 minutes, you've broken through that initial resistance, and you're actually far more likely to just keep going for longer. It's about mastering the art of showing up, as he puts it.
The art of showing up. I like that.
And then he talks about the Goldilocks zone, too. Finding tasks that are, not too hard, not too easy, challenging enough to keep you engaged, but not so difficult that you just give up. That sweet spot where you actually grow.
So it's not just theory. It's like a toolkit.
Precisely. These are really actionable steps you can literally take today to start building that momentum. And to make these ideas even more tangible, Clear boils it all down into what he calls the 4 laws of behavior change.
Okay, the 4 laws. This sounds like the core framework.
It really is.
Yeah.
And these aren't just pulled out of thin air. He draws them from psychology, from neuroscience. So they're pretty potent and, importantly, widely applicable.
All right, let's hear them. Law number 1.
Law number 1 is make it obvious. This is all about designing your environment, your surroundings. Well, if you want to practice guitar more often, don't keep it hidden away in its case in the closet. Leave it out, maybe on a stand in the living room where you see it constantly.
So the cue is right there.
Exactly. Or if you're trying to eat healthier snacks, don't have the cookies right there on the counter. Move them somewhere less visible and put a fruit bowl there instead. Your environment acts as this powerful, often subconscious cue for your habits.
So it's not just about pure willpower. It's about engineering your space to kind of nudge you in the right direction. I find that quite freeing, actually. Okay, what's law number 2?
The second law is make it attractive.
Right.
Our brains are basically reward-seeking machines, right?
Seems that way.
So if you can link a habit to something you find enjoyable or appealing, you're much more likely to stick with it. It's about making the process itself motivating, not just dreaming about the end result.
Okay, give me an example.
Maybe you want to exercise more, but you find it boring. But you love listening to a certain podcast or audiobook. So you make a rule. You only get to listen to that podcast while you're working out.
Temptation bundling. Pairing something you want to do with something you need to do.
Precisely. It makes the workout itself more attractive.
I can definitely see how that would work. Okay, so we have make it obvious, make it attractive. What's number 3? I'm guessing this ties back to that 2-minute rule somehow.
You got it. Third law, make it easy. This one is maybe the most crucial for just getting consistent action going.
Right.
Clear really hammers home the idea of focusing on small, manageable steps. Forget the overwhelming goal for a moment. His classic example, like we mentioned, is the push-ups. Want to get into doing push-ups? Just start with 2 a day.
2. Seems almost pointless.
It feels that way initially.
Yeah.
Almost silly, maybe insignificant. But the point is, it builds momentum. And crucially, it ensures you actually do it. You make the entry point so low, it's impossible to refuse. It's about consistency over intensity, especially at the start.
Consistency first, then worry about scaling up later.
Exactly. And the 4th law ties it all together. Make it satisfying. This is all about creating those positive feedback loops.
Okay. How does that work?
If a habit feels immediately rewarding, even in a really small way, your brain registers that pleasure, and you're much more likely to repeat the behavior.
So instant gratification, but for good habits.
Sort of, yeah. It could be something as simple as, mentally patting yourself on the back.
Yeah.
Or maybe using a habit tracker and getting the satisfaction of checking off that box.
Oh, I like checking boxes. Very satisfying.
Right. The satisfaction doesn't need to be huge. It just needs to be immediate and positive to reinforce the loop.
Make it obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying. It's a clear framework. And I guess what really drives it home in the book are the stories he tells, right?
Oh, absolutely. He doesn't just present the laws.
He shows them in action. Stories of Olympic gold medalists using these tiny tweaks for peak performance, or leading CEOs optimizing their crazy schedules.
Distinguished scientists making breakthroughs.
Yeah.
It shows the breadth of application.
Yeah, it makes it feel less like just self-help theory and more like these are principles used by people achieving extraordinary things. It gives you that feeling of, okay, if these tiny habits work for them, maybe they can work for me too.
It grounds the concepts in reality, makes them relatable and inspiring.
So let's talk about the author for a second. James Clear. Who is he? What's his background? He's really positioned himself as a leading expert on habits, on decision-making.
He certainly has. His credibility is pretty solid.
Yeah, look at his reach. That email newsletter he started, it went from literally 0 subscribers to 100,000 in under 2 years. That's incredible growth.
And now his 3-2-1, email those little nuggets of wisdom each week, that goes out to over 3 million people.
3 million. And his website, jamesclear.com, apparently gets something like 10 million hits a year on his articles.
Wow. That's significant reach.
It really is. And you see his work referenced in big places like the New York Times, Forbes, Business Insider. He's built a strong platform.
And you can really see that expertise reflected in the way the book itself is put together, can't you? The structure, the style.
Yeah, definitely.
Reviewers are constantly praising Atomic Habits for how clear it is, how concise, easy to understand. They use words like non-academical, simple, practical.
I saw one review mention it finds a niche for readers in these hectic social media crazy days, which says something about its accessibility, I think.
It does. And the structure helps there too, right? Those short chapters, usually around 10 pages or so.
Yeah, I noticed that. Made it feel very digestible.
Exactly. You can pick it up, read a chapter in a few minutes, and feel like you've learned something actionable. It's not designed like some dense textbook you have to slog through. It's clearly meant as a practical guide. That design choice really matters for how people absorb and use the information.
That structure definitely seems like a big part of its appeal. Which brings us to, well, what are actual readers saying? When you dive into the Amazon reviews, for instance.
Yeah, let's look at that social proof.
The overall feeling is just overwhelmingly positive. It's got a 4.6 out of 5 stars, which is already impressive, but it's from over 168,000 global ratings.
Whoa, 168,000 ratings. That's a massive sample size.
Isn't it? And get this, 70%, 70 are 5-star reviews. You just don't see numbers like that every day, especially in this genre.
No, you really don't. That speaks volumes. So what are the common threads in all that praise? When you synthesize those reviews, what keeps coming up?
Well, people consistently talk about the readability, like you mentioned, and the insight. Words like fantastic, must read, practical, enlightening, even transformative. Those pop up again and again.
Transformative is a big word.
It is. Many folks appreciate how easy it is to read and, crucially, how actionable the advice is. They call it straightforward, simple to understand, and they specifically mention how it helps them take consistent actions.
Consistent actions back to the core idea.
Exactly. Those short, well-structured chapters get a lot of love, too, making it feel manageable, and people frequently comment on it being excellent value for the money.
Good value is always appreciated.
And the quality of the advice itself is often highlighted. Phrases like concise, sensible advice, or one reviewer pointed specifically to the clear 4-step roadmap for habit building. It seems like it just clicks for a lot of people because it simplifies something that often feels really complex and overwhelming.
Makes sense. It demystifies habit change.
This is all fascinating stuff. Just quickly, hope you're enjoying the deep dive so far. If you are, maybe take a second to subscribe to the Deep Seek Diaries and like the video.
Yeah, it helps others find it. And don't forget, you can find us on the major social media platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Right. And remember, all the resources, books, websites, everything we're mentioning, links are down in the description section for you.
Easy to find. Okay, should we get back to the reviews? Was it all positive?
Good question. No, to give a fair picture, we definitely need to touch on the criticisms, even though they're more minor in the grand scheme of things.
Okay, what did the critics say?
A few reviewers found the content maybe too basic, or felt it was mostly common sense advice they had heard before. Some felt it wasn't quite as transformational for them personally compared to maybe other books they'd read in the genre.
So, maybe not groundbreaking for everyone, especially if they're already deep into self-help literature.
Potentially, yeah. And there was another interesting, more specific criticism that popped up a few times regarding the physical quality of the book itself.
Oh, like the printing.
Yeah, some people reported getting copies with covers or pages that were damaged or mentioned issues they saw with the print quality. One person even suggested the publisher might have padded the book's length a bit
Inherited it. How?
with lots of charts, quite a few blank pages, and sometimes just single sentences taking up a whole page. They reckon it could have been maybe 70 to 100 pages shorter without all that spacing.
Interesting observation about the formatting. So how did these different viewpoints, the huge praise and the minor criticism, sort of stack up?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? The overwhelming positivity about the readability and the practical, actionable advice. That clearly reinforces the book's main strengths. It's accessible, it gives you tools you can use right away.
Yeah, that seems undeniable from the feedback.
And even the criticism about it being too basic or common sense, in a way, it kind of points back to its simplicity, which most people see as a strength. Clear seemed to intentionally make it simple so it would be actionable, not just something you think about.
Right, prioritizing application over just intellectual novelty.
Exactly. And the physical quality issues, while obviously not ideal if you get a bad copy, they don't really seem to dent the overall perceived value of the content for the vast majority.
So the core message still shines through.
It seems so. It suggests that while, okay, maybe there are some production quirks, and maybe it's not advanced behavioral science for experts, its fundamental value lies in providing that clear, usable roadmap for changing habits. It feels like a really solid foundational text, maybe not an advanced academic work.
A great starting point or a powerful refresher.
Yeah. So thinking about all that, who is this deep dive really for? And by extension, who is Atomic Habits itself best suited for?
Good question to clarify.
I'd say it's pretty ideal for almost anyone looking for a clear, step-by-step manual for changing routines. That's how one review put it. If you're, say, 14 or older, and you're looking for practical, genuinely actionable ways to grow personally, boost productivity, or finally tackle some of those stubborn bad habits, this book seems tailor-made for you.
It really breaks down the how.
It does. It simplifies things without being simplistic, mostly.
Right. On the flip side, who might find it less beneficial?
Well, perhaps someone who's already really deep into advanced behavioral psychology. If you've read tons of academic papers on habit formation, maybe it won't feel entirely new.
Or someone who prefers a much more theoretical academic approach over practical steps.
Exactly. And as a few reviews hinted, if you're someone who finds highly simplified advice a bit patronizing sometimes, you might occasionally have that feeling with some examples, even if you agree with the overall framework.
So it depends on your background and what you're looking for. But for a broad audience seeking practical change,
Seems like a definite winner for them. It's really geared towards application, more than deep, complex theory. If you've read every single habit book out there, sure, some parts might feel familiar, like a refresher. But the synthesis is powerful.
well put.
And, well, there you have it. That's our deep dive into Atomic Habits. It's pretty remarkable, isn't it, how understanding the real impact of these tiny, consistent actions can actually lead to, revolutionary effects on your work, your relationships, your whole life, really.
It really does feel like it puts the power back into your own hands, doesn't it?
Yeah,
One small, manageable decision at a time.
it does. Very empowering.
Indeed. And maybe that leaves us with a final thought to ponder. If success really is the product of these daily habits, like Clear argues, and not just those rare, once-in-a-lifetime transformations, what tiny daily habit could you listening right now start today? Just one small thing that, if you let it compound over the next year, could genuinely change your trajectory. Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Deep Seek Diaries.
Hope it was useful.
Please don't forget to check out all those linked resources down in the description section. And if you haven't already, maybe hit the subscribe and like buttons as you head off.
We'd appreciate it.
Until the next episode, goodbye.
Bye, everyone.